Hi everyone, this is a video of me drawing and coloring an apple. First I'm going to draw a sketch of an apple using my pencil. Don't worry too much about the shape, it doesn't have to be a perfect round. Just make sure it gets narrow at the bottom. I'm going to draw the stem now. There you go. This is just a simple sketch of an apple. Now let's get to coloring. I'm using Scholar Prismacolors. It is a pack of 48 colored pencils. And this is canary yellow. This is going to form the base of our coloring. I usually prefer to start coloring from the left. As you can see, I'm just doing vertical strokes. To the extent possible, try to keep your strokes in the same direction. Avoid any horizontal lines. Also try to apply the same level of pressure throughout, because otherwise it can look patchy. I'm now slowly going to move to the other side. I prefer to do the edges first. You need to be a little careful while coloring the edges, just to make sure you're staying within the line. Continue with the same vertical strokes throughout. Continue coloring with the same level of pressure. It takes time. Drawing needs a lot of patience. I'm going to leave some parts at the top blank. That's for the lighting. Lighting is what makes the drawing look more real. Just leave it white, don't color it. Let's complete the middle part. I'm just going to do some circular strokes here to get a smooth finish so that it doesn't look liney. Similarly, at the top, leave some parts blank for the lighting. Now let's move on to the next layer of coloring. I'm using orange for this. Continue with the same pattern of vertical strokes. Just be careful while coloring the edges. You can always do an outline first and then color on the inside. I'm just trying to complete the left side first before I move to the right. Continue with the vertical strokes. We are coloring on top of the yellow layer. You can leave some parts of the yellow visible. That will make your coloring look more real. I've recorded the entire video of this coloring for the benefit of everyone, but if you feel you've got a hang of it, you can just fast forward. We're just continuing with the vertical strokes, the same pattern that you followed while coloring the yellow part. Careful as always while on the edges. Be patient with it and continue coloring. The same pattern of vertical strokes that you've been doing. It's simple, all it needs is patience. We're going to leave that part white. However, you could do gentle strokes just to make sure it doesn't look like a patch of white there. It's always easy to color the edges first and then color the middle part. Keep some of those orange lines visible. There's no need for it to smoothly blend into the yellow. We're almost done with the orange coloring. Just hang in there for a few more minutes. Just draw small gentle strokes from the top towards the center of the stem. That will help us bring out the depth of the coloring. Now we're moving on to the next layer of coloring. I'm using red for this. Draw an outline and color the edges first. And then you can follow the same pattern of strokes as you did for the yellow and the orange layers. Now we're slowly beginning to see the real color of the apple. Apply pressure differently to shade some parts of it darker. Let the orange dominate in some parts of it. Draw some mild gentle strokes here, just so that the white doesn't look like a patch. Now we are slowly moving to the right side. Continue coloring the same way. You can give a smooth finish to the edges and continue the vertical strokes on the inside. You can even do fewer red strokes and allow the orange and yellow to dominate. It's totally up to you. Work on the edges a little carefully. Make sure the vertical lines are blending nicely into the edges. You could even do a few strokes from the bottom to the top to make sure they blend well. dots visible here and there. Working on the middle part now. This should be easy. Shading some parts of it light and some parts of it dark. As you get closer to the white portion, use gentle strokes. That will help it all blend well. I'm just using some orange here again. You can use red too, it's completely up to you. You can actually go on and on shading. The more level of details you get into, the more real your drawing looks. I'm just going to do some more shading in red before I get done with this. You can draw an outline at the top and draw some lines merging into the center. You'd already done some of this using the orange color. Now you can just repeat it using the red. We're almost done with the red now. I'm now using brown for the stem. This is just the first layer of coloring for the stem. I'm using black for an outline. And this is dark brown. You can use this to shade the inner side of the apple, just underneath the outline. Using some red again to blend it all nicely. I'm going to continue with the dark brown shading on the right side. Or you could first do the black outline and then do the dark brown shading. It's up to you. Do some dark brown shading at the bottom edge too. Some shading at the top. Color the stem as well with dark brown. Not entirely, but just at the top and on the sides. Switching back to black now. Work on the outline. Work on the outline for the stem as well. Don't make the black borderline look very obvious. It has to blend nicely with the inside of the apple. We're going to work on the shadow now. When there's an object placed somewhere, there is a shadow. We're working on the shadow. Shade darker, closer to the apple. And use gentle strokes as you move away. And now some finishing touches using black and brown. Just making the outlines look clear. And strengthen some of the shades. You can choose to stop here. It's totally up to you on how much you would like to shade and add depth to your coloring. stop here, otherwise I can just go on and on. Hope you enjoyed drawing the apple with me.